Hey guys, welcome back to Kerbal Space Program with Nitro. Well, they just added the new 22.0.351 update. So I just logged on today and saw that this update was out, so I figured I'd just make a short video here, my first experience with it. They added a career mode and a couple new buildings down the ground that you can't really interact with yet, but big change in scenery, big change in UI that I saw, and also some new and interesting science equipment has come out. So let's take a look at that. So we have, I'm gonna start a brand new career mode here. Of course, it's still under development, but let's see what they have. Alright, so here is the new space center that we have here. We still have our spaceplane hangar over here, our astronaut complex. We have research and development, which is the newest building that they added over here. This is a really large area. It looks like they did away, oh no, here it is. Up here on this top, you still have that mission control building that they had up there. Still have our vehicle assembly building and our tracking station, as well as our launch pad. All here at the good old Kerbal Space Center, and I can see that little monument flickering over there in the distance, that nice little squad Easter egg. Looks like there might be something new over on that island, but I don't know, not sure yet. Ooh, this is interactable here too. I haven't done anything with this yet, so I'm not exactly sure what I'm doing. Let's see here, this is technology that you start out with. Okay. Let's see, what's this? Basic rocketry. Requires this, and I guess you need all of these parts, which we already have, so let's just go ahead and research. Not enough science, huh? 0 science. Interesting. Alright, well, let's check out our astronaut. We have Bill, Bob, and Jeb, so that's good. This is the new astronaut complex with the new background that you can all see in here. A couple astronauts available for hire. We don't really need new astronauts yet, so I'm just going to leave it with our default guys that we have here so far. I don't know, what do we want to do first? I guess we should just go ahead and go into our vehicle assembly building. And they did change the UI a little bit in here. So since we're in career mode, it looks like we don't have a whole lot to start out with, unfortunately, but we do have enough to get us up and off the ground. So here we have our standard space pod, and I guess we just have to launch it for our first launch. We're gonna need a parachute. Ooh, what's this? Submersibles. Or no. What's that say? Sub-assemblies? That's interesting. Let's see here. Can't really detach anything, so my hope is after we get this thing high enough into the air, we should be able to just have the force of it rip it off for us. But we'll see what happens. I know this thing isn't going to go very high. We don't have any detachments, unfortunately. So making a rocket is going to be a little hard. We have pretty standard shaped rocket here. It will let me attach this on the side, so that's good. So yeah, hopefully that will just blast off. Well, gotta I don't know, how many can we put on here? Is 4 a good number? That looks good. Oh man, this is gonna be a little crazy, but why not? We don't have, let's see, drag and drop a part here to have it, to save it as an assembly. Oh, I see. So I guess like if we had a large section here, then we could drag and drop it over here somewhere, and that would save it as a specific part assembly, I believe is what that's telling us. Yeah. So that's interesting. That could be potentially useful, but we don't have a big use for that here. I guess we'll just try and see what this gets us. We are going to call this craft the good luck, because I'm not really sure if it's gonna go anywhere, but good luck to it if it does, and we'll send good old Jebediah up in this little spacecraft and see what happens. Before we do anything, just gonna go ahead and set up our staging. So I do want, ooh, why is this pod a stage? I don't like that. That confuses me greatly. No idea why that's a stage. I'm just gonna save that as the last stage, just in case. Not exactly sure why it would do that. Check the description here. See if they changed anything. It doesn't look like they changed much. Oh well. So there we have it. There's our good luck. It's ready to go, and let's see how far it gets up into the atmosphere. I do not expect this to make any sort of remote orbit whatsoever, but we will see. It is pretty lightweight, so we'll see what happens. So SAS enabled, and away we go. That's actually really successful. Oh my goodness. I did not expect this to actually work. We don't have enough fuel. That was an interesting first launch. We may actually be able to go somewhere. We're not going to be able to achieve orbit with that much fuel left, but let's see. Well, we could continent hop. I could probably land it over here if I'm lucky. We do have a little ways to go before we actually hit the apoapsis, so I'm just gonna do as much time warp as possible here. Almost there. And that's about good. And full thrust. Nope, we're going down in the ocean. Oh man. Well, for our first rocket, it got the job done. We got up into space, but we are not achieving any sort of orbit with something like this. So, again, this is career mode, so not really sure how everything works yet. There's no real description or tutorial. At least I didn't really look for one, so don't fault me for that. Alright, here we go. We're re-entering the atmosphere, we are going to go down the ocean. And my hope is that the parachute will be able to rip this pod off of everything else, and all this will be destroyed, and we can just save our pod. And as you can see with the SAS system, as long as the SAS is active, you can see this little icon up here, letting us know that there is rotation going on, which is pretty interesting. This is going to speed up with physical time warp here. Let's see. Still going fairly fast. We should get a re-entry effect at some point. Maybe. I believe it already would have happened by now. Guess not. It's kind of disappointing. Oh, there we go. Pretty uneventful, but there it was. Alright, so we're at 8,000 meters, getting ready to deploy our parachute. Again, I have no idea what pod means. So we'll see what happens here. Alright, so my plan now is to see what this pod stage does. I'm actually going to hit the spacebar right before we hit the ocean, so we're going a little fast for impact, but hopefully this will let us know what happens when this pod stage is activated. Getting close. And activated it, and it did absolutely nothing, so whatever. But we survived, so that's the important thing. Jebediah is sitting happily in his capsule while it's flooding with water. Oh, I guess it's not flooding with water. It's got to be airtight. Alright, so let's go to the Space Center and see what that did for us. Alright, so here we can see our good luck splashdown, which is excellent. Let's go ahead and recover that vessel now. Oh! Ah, so here we go. We have 8 science. Interesting. Interesting. So I guess after successful missions, be it whatever they may be, you obtain science points by the look of it to further your research and development in career mode, so you can have more and more and more spaceflight. So that's pretty interesting, but now we know. We need to have successful missions instead of unsuccessful missions in order to gain science points. So, very interesting. So now we're going to go back here and see rocketry, and now we can see up here at the top we do actually have 8 science. So let's go ahead and start research, and there we go. We got it. I guess it just unlocks instantaneously, which is kind of interesting. I guess now we own all of these parts. So now we have our decoupler, which is what I really need, basic RCS, and basic other propulsion systems, which is excellent. So let's see. 15, that's way too much. Aerodynamics, 18 and 20. Alright, so that's a 200 power. I don't really use that a whole lot. Solid fuels I don't really need. These side decouplers are pretty useful, so 18 for that. And then what is this? Landing struts. Those are also useful, but I guess I'm going to go for this one down here first before I go for aerodynamic, and I'll just work my way up. It looks like you just need to keep on launching missions and gradually get more successful missions here in order to have a more successful space program. These things do have costs, but I do not see a budget anywhere yet. So I'm not really sure if that's a thing right now. But we have unlocked a bunch of new propulsion systems finally, so that will help us out. Communitrons, we also have this mystery goo. This is one of the brand new pieces of science equipment that you can put on a craft that just came out. I haven't used it yet, but that will be on our next rocket, so let's go ahead and do that right now. I'm pretty excited to use it. I'm going to take away all these solid fuel boosters, and we have new propulsion, so we don't need that anymore. What do I want to do? Let's see. Excellent, so that's a little one, so that's just what I wanted. That'll detach our pod for us, which is what we want. Let's see. I've used these before. So we want a fuel. I'm actually going to try and achieve orbit this time. I believe we have enough equipment to achieve a successful orbit. So, well, I guess we do need a little bit more fuel for this. And just move that up. So that's our primary orbital rocket here that we have assembled. And let's see. Only have one pod still, unfortunately. But now that we do have this mystery goo, oh, we're gonna need to recover this too, I betcha. Oh, I guess just attach it on the side. I don't know. Or let's see what the description is here. I guess we could just take it right up into space with us. It shouldn't be a problem. I do want to equalize the weight of my craft, so let's go ahead and put 2 of them on there just for safety reasons. If I were to put only 1 on there, it might shift our center of gravity off. It doesn't have very high mass, but it could still cause an issue. Alright, so there we go. Let's put a decoupler here. And now, let's see what else we can do here. Come on. There we go. Should be able to make something relatively interesting. Not really sure if this is going to be structurally sound, but it will be interesting. That's for sure. Alright, so now the plan is to put these on the bottom. Let's see, just like that. So that'll give us our initial launch stage right here. I do wish I had those structural supports, but I do not. Don't have any extra aerodynamics. Actually, this is a little awkward. I'm going to remove those, and I'm going to put just these 2 on the side, like that. And these are just going to be our support boosters, so those are going to help us get up a little higher after all of this initial I can talk, launch stage goes off down here. So this craft is still pretty lightweight, from what I can tell. Should be good. We don't really need communications gear yet. And we don't have electrical charge or anything like that, although the pod does have a little bit of it. It's still not enough. I don't think we can really do much else here. This looks good though. We have mystery goo, and we have a pod that may achieve orbit. Not really sure. Oh, do I want more boosters? Could add more boosters. Because if I put more boosters on the side there like that, these can help us get a little further, but I mean, it's all this extra weight that we have on here. I don't know. Yeah, I guess I'll try it. It's still the good luck, so we'll see what happens here. Let's see. Alright, so all that first stage looks good. That goes off. Second stage is going to be these. Those are gonna go, and then gonna have these two outer ones actually go first, and then our central one, and then we're just going to separate and then launch that. So there we go. That looks good. Let's go ahead and save this. This is we can go ahead and overwrite the other one. It was nothing special. Neither is this really, for that matter. But let's see what happens. Alright, so here we are on our launch pad. Oh man, I'm a little worried about the structural stability of this thing. Oh, alright, let's see what happens. Here we go. These things will overheat a little bit more now. Actually, I'm going to redo that because that wasn't a really good launch. So it looks like the solid boosters will now actually overheat a lot easier than they did before, so that's not good. We need to fix this. And to fix it, I actually just want to make a more stable craft. So what I'm going to do now... Oh, come on. Really? Alright. Guess we'll just have to stick these on here manually, like so. Right, so what happened was they overheated very easily, and that is not good. So we can only use these very sparingly by the looks of it. However, if I do this right, then we might be able to get something else out of it So the plan now is to have a bunch of these smaller solid boosters here, or not solid boosters, support boosters on the bottom. They're not really boosters, they're rockets, but well, it's not going to be all that stable on the launch pad like this, so need to add a couple more. Alright, hopefully that'll be relatively stable. Alright, so what's gonna happen, or at least now the plan, hope I have enough down there, it looks like I do. I'll move these solids up a stage, and actually get those out of the way. And we have 1, 2, and 3, and that yet. Alright, so after all this decouples, we want the solids to go off, and then we want the 2 side ones to go off first, like that. And then the central, and then detach, and then parachute. Alright, so if this thing holds together, the plan is these are 215 power each, and these are 250. So really the trade-off in power, we're going to have stability versus overheating easily. So we're just going to see how that works. Yeah. Hopefully this will work. Let's see what happens. This is so new and different. I knew this would be relatively challenging. We're lucky we don't have life support systems yet. That'd be a new thing entirely. Yeah, so what's happening there is we don't have enough SAS power to actually control the flight, and I don't think these have what's it called, the gimbal. Yeah, so that's gonna be a problem. Well, gosh, I just don't know. I guess if we took all these off, we could try launching it just as a lighter craft until we figure out what we can do. So, let's see. 2 boosters first, and then we can just try launching all that. Alright, so let's try this. Alright, there we go. Alright, so that was a bit far, but looks like it worked. If I had a couple more boosters on either side of this, then it probably would have worked even better than that if I staged them all properly. But we are on our way up into space. Again, I don't think I'm going to have enough fuel for a full orbit here, but this should be a successful mission. We have this mystery goo in there. I guess if I can achieve anything near orbit or, something orbit-like in trajectory, if I have enough time around the planet, I can try a short little spacewalk and see what that does for our science. It's going to time warp up here to our apoapsis. Alright, that should be far enough. I'm going to start our burn now. And we're out of fuel. Oh well. Not quite as successful as the other one, but let's just go ahead and see what this mystery goo does here. So, observe. Ooh. What's this? Transmit data. I guess we can't. No comms devices on vessel. Huh. Keep data. Interesting. I guess we can see what happens to it when we re-enter atmosphere and see what happens during that time. Alright, so I guess the next task for our next ship, we should actually put communications gear on here, and then we can transmit our data. So it looks like that's one of the new things that we can do there. So once we approach, get closer to sea level before I detach the stage and activate the parachute, I'm actually going to open up the second goo canister and see what that gives us. So that'll be pretty interesting to observe. So let's see what happens here. And of course, the reason that that goo is all nice and clumped and hardened is because we're in space and it's cold. So, yeah. That's what happens to any liquid in space. Whee! Ah, that's better. Much better re-entry effect. Nice and quick. So let's open this goo canister now. Jiggles and wobbles as the craft flies. Interesting. So we're going to keep that data. It's very, very weird little thing to have, mystery goo. Yeah, same data. Well, alright, so on our next graph, we're going to be sure to include communications gear so we can actually keep this data. So let's go ahead and jet it. There we go. Goodbye, mystery goo. Hopefully I still get the data even though that craft is going to be completely destroyed. We'll see what happens here. A successful parachute, which is always good. I want to be kind of careful with the time warp because I know that these parachutes can rip themselves off. I don't want to go to 4 times time warp with this just yet. So yeah, it looks like career mode is actually going to be fairly challenging to get through here because you have to unlock all the parts that you normally have in sandbox gameplay. Excellent. Nice soft landing. And again, I just activated that other pod stage, which really, I don't think it does anything. If it detaches a pod from a ship, we'll never know because I'm not going to test it and put our good old spaceman Jebediah's life in jeopardy for that. That'll be a red shirt. So let's see. Space Center. Why is it 9 minutes from now? Oh, that's interesting. Well, alright. I don't know why I can't go directly to the Space Center from here. It's so weird. Whatever. Check it on the tracking station. Standing by to launch, huh? What? Well, that's odd. Alright, so we want a more successful flight this time for our mystery goo, and we need to transmit the data, so we need communications gear. And we're going to put 2 of these on here like this, just because we can. Actually, I almost wonder if I can stick these on the canister itself, can I? I don't think I can. Put them on the top. Ah, good. It actually snaps to the top, just like that. That's good enough. So, what else do we need? We need more rockets. So, now that we know that this goes all the way up the way we want it to, we can put some more rockets on it like this. And that'll give us even more propulsion. So now what's going to happen when we go to do our launch is I'm just going to stage these a little differently. So I'm going to have, well, I guess I could do all 4. So I'm going to have these extra 4 that I just added here be my first stage of solid boosters, and then the second stage of solid boosters is going to be these, and then I'm going to activate my rockets, and then finally our central rocket, detach, parachute, pod. So that is the good luck. And save it, and launch. Will this achieve orbit? No idea, but that's what we're going to find out. So here we go. Alright, so there we go. We actually have a a decent speed going now. Looks like all those solid boosters did their part. Once we achieve apoapsis over here, I'll start our burn. We may achieve orbit. Not sure yet, though. See what happens. Alright, so we do not have orbit, but it's a much better space flight than we've gotten so far. I guess I just have to add more fuel. Let's go ahead and take a look and see what our mystery goo does. It should do the same thing as it did last time. And let's see, extend, spend. There we go. And let's transmit data. Uh-oh. Not enough electric charge. No. Oh, why? We don't have battery power. Not enough electric charge, huh? Wow, that took away all of our electric charge, actually. That's interesting. Oh, I guess that was too much for it. Oh, alright. Let's see, maybe I'm going too fast about this here, so... Alright, let's take a look back at our science. So this requires 10 electric charge. Let's see. And our pod has 50 electric charge. However, I believe the Communicatron is using more than that 10 electric charge when it actually transmits data. So, what are we gonna do? First of all, we need more time in space. So what I'm going to do now is give us, actually I'm just going to get rid of all that, give us a little bit bigger rocket here. So there we have double the fuel that we had last time. so now we only have one. Actually, I'm just gonna stick this right on our pod like that, just so we know that the pod is giving it power. But I don't believe that was the issue. Alright, so let's test this now. We have more rockets on our initial boost stage, and then this is our main rocket for space travel. Alright, so that was a pretty successful flight, despite the spinning. Looks like we'll be able to achieve orbit this time. There should be plenty of fuel for orbit, plus we have what we have saved. Hopefully. Let's just see what happens here after we get up to our apoapsis. Hopefully now we'll also have enough electrical charge for a transmission. Alright, so here we go. Don't really have enough torque. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Whoa, 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 whoa. 90,000 is a bit much. We don't quite need that much altitude. There we go. We have an orbit and enough fuel for a return journey. Perfect. So despite the launch, this has actually worked, and I am happy with it. So now, we need to extend our hand handy dandy antenna, and I do want to try to point it in the direction, hopefully in the direction of our space center. I don't really know if that's a thing, but it should be. So now we'll observe our goo, and the same stuff seems to happen, so transmit. No! Yeah, it looks like it just doesn't have enough electric charge, so each time it transmits 10%, it's taking off. Looks like 5 electric charge. So 10 electric charge every 20%. And that's why we don't have enough electric charge to actually transmit data. So that is kind of lame, but whatever. Well, it's fine. So now we should be able to land though with what we have. So I'm just gonna land over here in the desert because I know it's a lot easier than landing near the space center, and it's within our power to do that because we actually do have a orbit around Kerbin. Not really. We did get some science actually for what we achieved so far. So once this craft lands, we should have more science to play around with, and that means more parts. So let's just go ahead and slow down time here, and we'll aim retrograde like that on our nav ball, and burn. Something just happened that popped up on the screen. I have no idea what that was, but we have achieved some sort of science for something. Observe this goo. Whatever. Let's just keep that data. Alright, so I do not want to land in the mountains of the desert. I want to land over there. So I know it looks like that mountain range, but again, we're going to be slowing down here as we enter the atmosphere. Current altitude, whoa, 30,000. Ah, there we go. I was going to say, we should be getting re-entry effects by now. Let's observe the goo during re-entry. Very cold. Interesting. Ah, we have more electric charge. So I guess this does automatically recharge? Or no? Weird. View data. Transmit data. Not enough electric charge. Whatever. Oh well. Wee. Alright, so now when we land, even though that pod will be completely destroyed, we should still be able to save Bill. Why is that not Jeb? So Bill will still be alive to deliver the message. Of what happened to our Mr. U. Because that's what everybody wants to know about. Is the hopefully we don't die here. Alright, good. I have had it happen where if you land in the terrain area, the elevation of the actual terrain is higher than the deployment altitude of this tiny parachute, so do keep that in mind when you pick your landing zones. Bad things have happened in the past. Alright, so just drift down to our surface ever so gently. 6.4 meters a second is perfect. Ooh, what's this? What's going on? That is weird. I guess the cone that all of that is being projected on is somehow catching a shadow. That's my best guess as to why that is happening. The shadow is actually being cast on an invisible surface that's completely transparent, so they might want to fix that. But there we go, we have survived. And now we can go back to the Space Center. Awesome. As you try to clean the water, again, as a rule of thumb, awesome. Orbit. Good. Good. Alright, so after we get our next research point here, I'm just going to end the recording and then we'll pick it up in the next episode. Let's see, we have 19 total science, so I can actually get this, which allows us to detach useless gear and have these thingies. Again, these do have credits that you can buy stuff with, so I'm not really sure yet as to why that is. We don't really need this little rocket or extra parachutes, but side detachments I definitely want, so I'm just going to go ahead and get this. Ooh, and there we go. Now we can build bigger rockets, we can have more side detachments, and our strut, which is badly needed. Better control, Sputnik probe, get some of our space gear, which is pretty nice. I have 1 science left. Wonderful. Right, so there you guys go. That's my first look and my first experience with the Kerbal Space Program Career Mode, and I'll be continuing this in some more episodes, so stay tuned for that. Luckily, the new update that just came out did not break the saves, so you can still load your saves that you had from the previous version, and I already did that and they work, so that's good. I did not really want to restart from scratch, but I guess career mode is kind of restarting from scratch, and it's kind of fun to do so, that's nice. Again, the weird thing that's just bugging me is that these all have that cost value, and there's not really a way that it looks like they're tracking costs, so I believe that's still a future update, because there's no real impact of the parts that you're using or the cost of those parts yet, but I guess that will be a thing in the future, so that'll make the career mode even more challenging. But there you guys have it. Have fun in the new Kerbal Space Program career mode, the new beautiful space center that we have here. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode and stay tuned for more. See ya.